set, go.
Yep.
It's 5 o'clock on Tuesday, September the 26th, 2023. I'm going to call this meeting to order of Point Everett Village Council. Next is the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land, the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Is there anyone with pecuniary interest?
I have none.
One.
Okay.
For operations committee meeting minutes.
No planning. We'll break down to adoption of minutes. So we have the adoption of the council meeting minutes from July the 25th and August 25th. We could do them together if you so wish. Motion to okay, thank you. Seconder,
I'll second.
any questions on either month? All in favor? Okay, approved. Is there any ongoing plans that we need to talk about? No, they will roll into our different reports. So the first one is general operations.
I'll move that the general operations, that the total revenues and general operations for the month of July 2023 in the amount of $1,089,372.04 be approved. And that the total expenditures and general operations for the month of July 2023 in the amount of $623,216.34 be approved.
I can second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Move on to environmental services, July.
Move that the total revenues and environmental services for the month of July 2023 in the amount of $272,778.57 be approved. And that the total expenditures in environmental services for the month of July 2023 in the amount of $122,161.63 be approved. And that the updated financial statements of the month of June 2023 showing revenues of $149,934.79 and expenses of $148,097.77 be received and filed.
Thank you. General operations, August. Oh, sorry, all in favor. Vote. Thank you. Teamwork. Okay, general operations, August.
Okay, I'll make the motion that the total revenues and general operations for the month of August 2023 in the amount of $129,832.37 be approved. And that the total expenditures and general operations for the month of August 2023 in the amount of $912,262.82 be approved.
Seconder. Okay. Any questions? All in favor?
That was me, Jen, that approved that.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I should have said it out loud. Environmental services, August.
I'll move that the total revenues and environmental services for the month of August in the amount of $0 be approved, and that the total expenditures in environmental services for the month of August 2023 in the amount of $79,625.97 be approved, and that the financial statements for the month of July showing revenues of $272,778.57 and expenses of $150,616.94 be received and filed.
Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Move on to committee reports. The first committee is operations from September the 12th.
Thank you. I'll move that the committee report for September the 12th, 2023 for operations be received and filed.
I'll second that.
And I said a couple quick highlights if I may. The arena roof is well underway. If you've been down by the arena, you'll see it. We did have to add some money to the budget because the fascia had rotted away, and so we did an emergency approval for that, so we're glad to see that's being dealt with at the same time. We are still working on the portable washroom for the waterfront park for the winter. Do we have an update on that, Jim, or no? Okay. Okay,
It's, as far as I know, it's being delivered the 1st of November.
is it been,
It's not,
Oh,
That's
okay,
our-
we've got to decide between a heated and a.
okay,
gotta
okay,
get prices
sorry.
on that.
that's the expectation, yes,
Okay.
yeah. St. Clair Street project will be commencing in the spring of 2024. And if you saw the media today, Mayor Hand commented on it in the media. Is the notice?
So
well,
just,
Yep.
that came because the same time the notices went out to each homeowner.
Oh, they did quote?
They went out through this last week, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, they were
and like-
delivered.
And are they going out by constant contact as well? Is that not our,
I thought it had,
I
but
haven't seen
you
it.
haven't, okay,
That's what I was asking about.
I thought it had, but
And then the last one was that is if through the approval of these minutes, we will be reducing the bag limit for garbage to 4 bags per household. It was 6, we reduced it to 5, now we're gonna go to 4 as of January 1st, 2024. A lot of municipalities are doing it as far as trying to reduce the amount of garbage going to landfill. Consensus is that 4 should be sufficient, especially in the summer when you can do 4 twice a week, so by approving this, we will be recommending, and Jim was gonna get us just some information on what other communities are doing, so that's all, thank you.
And then just a reminder, all of that type of information will go out in the next newsletter to remind people what's happening in January, so they can have time to prepare.
Yep.
Thank you. All in favor? Move on to fire.
I'll move that the minutes from the fire committee for September 12th, 2023 be received and approved. There's just one update for the council, the roof, fire hall in the library should be underway starting September 18th.
it was supposed to. Now they're telling us about the middle of October because of different rain delays and such, but
Has been postponed.
I thought you were gonna say it's done.
Yeah.
I was
No,
hoping.
yeah.
You said September 18th, oh.
Yeah.
In a week,
yeah,
so that's the
such work.
earliest they can,
that's, yeah, they're,
so rain delays on other projects are pushing our project out. if I'm-
yeah.
Disappointing, but
Did you get a seconder for that?
Sorry, are you offering?
Sure.
Thank you. All in favor? Thanks. I was still stuck on the roof. Okay, environmental services.
I'll move that the minutes of the Environmental Services Committee meeting held September 12th, 2023 be approved as printed.
I'll second that.
I just have one question. Since our meeting that we had, has there been any updates on the digester project at all?
They did the flyover with the
Drone?
drone, and was that before the meeting?
That
That hadn't happened yet.
Okay, and they weren't able to find anything, at least the preliminary
Yeah.
review of it, they weren't able to find anything. They were gonna take it back and do a more in-depth, and I haven't heard any results of that yet.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing obvious on the sensors while they were doing the flyover.
All in favor? Thank you. And the last one, finance and administration.
I'll move that the minutes of the finance committee meeting held on September 12th be approved as circulated. If I give a second.
Second.
I've got a few comments to make on that.
By Councilor Noctor, so seconded, Jen.
We reviewed the fee schedule and we made a recommendation that the food services vehicle license be raised from $1,400 to $1,500 effective January 1st. And that when we finish the animal control bylaw, we'll look at the dog licenses at that point, and the water and sewer rates will be adjusted normally as per our January of 2024. That's it.
Here again. Just have a question about the minutes. Says that the rate increase would be January 1st, 2023. I assume that's a typo.
Yes, it would be.
Sorry, I didn't notice that.
That's right. It was 2024.
Okay, we'll make that change.
Okay, all in favor? Great. Move on to miscellaneous reports. First one is building permits.
Move to receive and file.
And second that.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Mhm.
I noticed there's work going on at 1540 and I don't see a permit listed here. 1540 Venetian.
They have a foundation permit.
Okay, so that doesn't get listed here?
I don't know.
This is the new, like the new condo building? that you're-
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. Why it's not, they have got their foundation permit. They've picked it up,
Okay,
paid
there's-
for it.
Double checking. Thank you.
I'm not sure why it's not on there.
But no, they haven't got the rest of it yet.
Okay, that's fair.
All in favor? Harry? Police board meeting? No, yes, sorry, yes,
I'll move that,
from July.
this is from July. I wonder where my name is in it. Okay.
Hmm.
Did I chair that one?
Yes,
Oh, okay, yeah. I just saw my name up.
I can't remember. I was somewhere.
Yeah, you were somewhere. Oh, you had a double.
Were you
conflict.
attended?
I had a conflict
Yeah, that's right. No, yeah, okay.
somewhere.
So I'll move that that we receive and file these minutes.
I'll second that.
Hey, all in favor?
There's been a meeting since then.
Yeah,
Yes,
there was one last.
last week.
All right, good. That's what confused me.
Same week as committee meeting.
Yeah.
You know, it's approved and then it comes here,
Yeah.
so it always lags.
Yeah.
Okay, so, communications receive and file,
I'll
1 through 9,
I'll move that 1 through 9 be received and filed.
I'll second that.
seconded by Council Mondu. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so we're moving on to new business.
So the first item we've had, resident down on, Monk Street. Monk.
Monk, Yeah.
This had been in a few times complaining about neighborhood cats, being allowed to roam at large and killing his pet wild animals on his property. Their cats are killing squirrels, chipmunks, that type of thing. So he's wondering what we can do about it. So I've looked in, the city of Sarnia does have a bylaw. I checked in with the Sarnia District Humane Society as well. They say that the only municipality in the county that has a bylaw for cats is the city of Sarnia. And she doesn't think they enforce the bylaw at all. They just have it in place for guidelines, basically. What she recommends is that we do an education campaign to let the public know that they should be keeping their cats on their own property. And so there is a fee if somebody traps a cat and it goes to the Humane Society. It's $20 for the first day and $10 for each additional day to get the cat back out. So she feels we should do an education campaign that way. She just feels that trying to enforce a cat bylaw would be very difficult. So that my recommendation was that we do an education campaign and to inform the public that they can put live traps on their property and then contact the Humane Society if the cat does get trapped, and they'll either the public would take the cat to the Humane Society or the Humane Society would come and get it. They're not exactly sure about that yet, but they would deal with the cat.
Councilor Mondu?
CAO Burns, I have a question on that. Would there be any increased cost of the village for them to come and pick up the trap cat? I know we do have a contract with them today. Would that be included in the contract, existing contract?
I don't believe so, but I can ask that question.
Okay. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Grimes?
Yeah, you would think that the fine that they're gonna issue the person that owns the cat would cover that, but it's good to still check.
Mhm.
My question though is, will the Humane Society write the education piece that we're gonna distribute?
I believe she said they have something they could help us with.
Okay. And then when they say the cats should not be allowed to roam freely, that's just an opinion of the Humane Society for the better safety of,
For the
the cats.
safety of the pets, basically, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Health and
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
The other part of this too, when talking to this individual is when it's a particular, I know some people are loath to do this, but it's a particular cat in a particular house, you could try to talk to your neighbor. It's like, you know, if a barking dog, you can try the neighbor approach, but, some people don't wanna be the complainer to their neighbors, so.
How do we know it's the cat? There's a lot of other predators,
Yeah,
raccoons, coyotes, just,
yeah, that's, I don't know if gentleman has actually witnessed a cat killing the wildlife or not. I don't know that. He's,
Just taking his word for it. He
Yeah.
spends a lot of time outside.
yeah,
So, I mean, we don't know that. It's just what he says. So, anyway, it seems like a better solution because we're not gonna have a bylaw that we can't,
Or
like,
won't enforce.
can't enforce or won't enforce.
I have another question. Through the mayor to CEO Burns, the proposed animal control bylaw that we've got. Section 16 talks about impounding animals, and it does refer to both dogs and cats.
okay,
I know I can't remember the exact discussion we had on this, but I know we removed cats from some of the. Like, we didn't put it in the fee schedule, I believe. So
Right.
I'm just wondering, is it still in the existing bylaw that we've yet to pass?
so the fee that you pay at the Humane Society is not anything to do with our bylaw.
That's right.
That's the fee they charge
Yes,
to house the cat.
Yeah.
So our bylaw would have no effect on that fee.
not on the fee, but it does say about seizing the animals and all that and taking them to.
That was
the,
section 16.
Section 16. Yes,
And this is the proposed bylaw.
this is the proposed bylaw.
Okay. I'll review that and
And I know we did remove some reference to cats, so I'm just wondering.
So do we need a recommendation? Should we have a recommendation going forward?
yeah, there is a recommendation in the report
Okay.
that staff undertake
Yeah, so.
Campaign. and yeah,
Okay, would somebody move that the recommendation, that we accept the recommendation?
I'll move that we accept the recommendation.
Seconder,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor? Okay. The next one. Drainage and flooding concerns.
okay, so as there's been a couple of properties that have filed, just not filed complaints, but talked to us about concerns about ponding water. One is a number of properties. And it's when there is a really big rain, there's a ponding in the back of the yard and it goes away over time, but it's. I mean, it's gotta be a fairly,
Louisa.
yeah, Louisa and Victoria, no, Louisa and Alexandria
Yeah.
area, yeah. So, Jay went out to take a look at things and it's just. Like there've been things, pools built over the years that cut off natural drainage. And it's just, to deal with it would be very difficult. The other property, the bus barn is the concern. That's where the runoff is coming from and flooding out some of the neighbors. So the property standards bylaw does have, as I highlighted in the attachment in the report, that does deal with drainage, lot grading. So we've also had a complaint on that property for vegetation. So the property standards officer is talking to the owner of the property,
Which property?
the bus barn.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna try and work through the property standards process and make them aware there's a concern about drainage as well as the vegetation, try and get it dealt with that way. We're hoping that this process will get us where we need to be and but we're gonna start there anyway, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So that's just, there's been a fair bit of it this summer with all the rain we've got, and I just felt council should be aware that the bylaw does speak to drainage, and we're moving forward with that.
Deputy Mayor Grimes?
Thanks. So I was very confused about this report in that no properties were identified and I just don't understand why it's on our agenda when you get complaints all the time, you refer them to property standards all the time, and it's not really a council matter, is it?
It's not generally, it's more for information purposes, just because it's kind of unusual to be dealing with drainage
Yeah.
complaints. I mean,
Mhm.
with the village being on sand, there's,
Yeah.
usually it's just a bit of time and the water goes away.
Mhm.
I just thought that I would share this with council for information, so that if the neighbor came to you, you could tell them that it can be dealt with through the Property Standards Act and that we're working towards that.
So should we add the properties in this? Like,
I'd prefer not
Okay.
to, I mean.
then
I
I
guess
just wonder
we've
why,
identified it.
would an
now,
email
but-
not have sufficed just to let us know this is going on? It just seems like. It just seems out of place on
Yeah.
our council agenda, that's all. I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
It could have been dealt with in an email, I suppose.
Okay,
Then we'll move on to the next one, which is.
we have to, don't we have to receive,
Sorry,
motion
sorry,
to receive,
yeah.
I'll do that, I guess.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Move on to the Friends of the St. Clair River signage request.
So this is, I think the report covers the information here. There's one sign now just south of the memorial monument beside the bridge. And they'd like to replace that one, put another one kind of at the north end of that grassed area. And then a third one right down near where all the paths come together, like where the flag. What do we call that? The
Flag Plaza.
Yes, thank you, Flag Plaza. And that one would be that one would be the one that deals with drinking water. And it just highlights all the work that the Friends of the St. Clair with the St. Clair Conservation Authority have done over the past years to have the river delisted as an area of concern. So the Friends of the St. Clair have worked with Aamjiwnaang a little bit on this, just Aamjiwnaang wants to put some signage out in their area as well. So they work together on that signage. I told them, putting things in Waterfront Park is a touchy issue. From a council standpoint, in terms of, we don't like to have a whole lot of excess signs in there. Then from an archaeological perspective, that it's a concern there as well. So I think the fact that they've been working with Aamjiwnaang a little bit will help us get approval from them as well, I think. But my proposal is to give approval from this body, subject to getting approval from Aamjiwnaang. And that I would reach out to them and have a discussion with them about putting in the signage.
Who wants to go first? Anybody?
I-
Deputy Mayor Grimes?
Yeah, I support it. I think, I agree that we don't want crazy signage down there, but at the same time, I think we need to explain the body of water that people are looking at and all the work that's been done to save it and make it a safer, body of water as far as drinking water and all that stuff. And then I support it as much as I think if with this all moves ahead, I think as a village, we should think about, trying to have some sort of a supporting a ribbon cutting or a grand opening or some sort of a public event where when the signs are launched, we can then invite people down to just see them and maybe Mayor Han can cut a ribbon or unveil one or something like that and have a little reception. I know they'll probably do it, but I think if we could support it as a village, because that waterfront park really brings a lot of people into our community on a daily basis. So,
They did a gathering, I want to say a couple of years ago, but dialing COVID, so it's probably more like 4, but it's a lot of the work that's been done by nation,
mhm.
like the Port Huron peoples, they got on their side and the Canadians were on this side of how they've been working together on influencing and repairing the water. So it's like a Great Lakes initiative. So they had a big gathering there and like a ribbon cutting type thing, but a little bit different but related. I've said before, I'm not a fan of putting more signs along our waterfront. It just spoils the natural beauty, but I understand, and the importance of the work that they're doing, so I can support it, but I'm gonna keep saying, I just don't want to see sign after sign up down there, and I want it to be natural, but I could support it in this case, and they will work with Angela and anybody else?
I just want to make a comment that, yeah, I support it as well because there is an existing sign today that,
Mhm.
requires updating. So yes, a couple more. If we get approval from Amjuan, I support this wholeheartedly because of the work they've done.
I have one thing.
Yes, Counselor Burgess.
I like the idea. And I thought in my package before, there was a photograph at the waterfront. I can't find it now. Yeah,
Right
and
in the report.
the sign, I thought, well, must have not scrolled far enough on it, but
This one's the current one.
it's a lower
Mhm.
sign. It isn't gonna, it's
Yeah.
not at eye height.
Yeah.
It's down here. And if we
Yeah.
could keep it at that height, like about 3 feet off the ground.
So it's,
And just from my perspective, I had a group of kids from Bridgeview School. We did the Amazing Race Point Edward, and one of the thing was to go to the waterfront park and gather educational information from the monuments and the signs and everything at our waterfront park. So this could be another stop for them to do
Sure.
that. And that's the thing, as you're walking along there, it's not obstructing your view of the river or the bridge or anything, but it's still there and people can read it if they want to take the time to read it.
Yeah, I think if the next two signs mirror what's there, and I assume that's their intention.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure of that because
no.
I don't
that's
want in
okay.
that,
That's a
yeah,
good
sorry,
point.
it
It's
was
not-
at the bottom. I just didn't scroll far enough.
It's not as obtrusive, but it's just, I always feel like when you give permission to one group, then somebody else is gonna come out of the woodwork, but
But that's why we're here,
we
right?
deal with
To
it as it
deal with
comes.
that case by case.
Yeah.
the one, if I may, the one
Yep.
sign they shared with us, this binational success story, they're putting one on the other side of the river, the same. Maybe not exactly the same
Mhm.
wordage, but very, very similar message.
But it'll be in American, where ours will be in English.
No use.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, So,
Change the spelling of the
um,
word neighbor.
We need a
Yeah,
motion.
yeah, I'm just looking for the motion, sorry.
I'll make a motion that contact be made with representatives of M2M regarding the installation in order to enable installation of the required signage along the riverfront area. And that council approval be granted subject to approval from M2M.
I'll second. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, the next one is the arena compressor repair.
Okay, so this is, we had Black and McDonald in to do the startup of the system a couple of weeks ago. The arena's operating today as yesterday, I guess, as well. But they discovered this concern with the compressor, the oil. There's metal filings in the oil and it needs to be rebuilt. They've got a quote here for just, I think it's just under 15,000.
Yeah,
And so the recommendation is to pay that invoice out of the arena maintenance account. But understanding that that'll put us over budget on that account, but we just don't think it's a good idea to leave this one to crash on us in the middle of the seasons.
so I'll move it and then. My question,
I'll second it.
my question relates to, does this not fall within your
Again,
presets, your
it-
spending approvals?
yes, and the reason I didn't immediately is because of all the other money we've spent on the arena recently, like I just.
Overage on
You
the
know,
roof.
yeah,
This is
it's,
just-
And now, this is ready to go tomorrow, apparently, if it gets approval tonight, it's ready to go tomorrow. I was told that it wasn't, we wanted to get it a couple of weeks into the season, get everything established
Mm.
before we take this machine down. It's gonna be down for, they were hoping to do it in a day.
Mm.
They'll bring 2 or 3 guys in and they're hoping to get everything done in one day. When I was told about this, they were putting it off for a couple of weeks, so there wasn't a great big hurry, so that's why I brought it.
Yeah, so
because-
on the way here, I did speak to arena staff and it's not on for tomorrow anymore.
Okay.
Apparently the guy got booked while we were waiting for this approval and it's gonna be 2 weeks out, which is doable, but the arena staff said they would have preferred to have done it when the arena is more empty, right? Like they're sitting, but he said they'll be able to
Yeah.
get through it, but and then when I was speaking, I think for budget, Derek's gonna recommend that we look at an annual inspection of the compressor at the end of the season, because they probably would have caught this in April if they did the oil change then, and it could have been fixed over the summer. And so he might recommend that to you, just to look at
Mhm.
being a little more, because they're 10 years old, so they're a little
Yeah.
more proactive on the wear and tear. And So anyways, he'll be talking about that.
They'll probably bring it to count to the next committee.
Yeah, it's his plan, so.
Through the mayor,
Councillor
to-
Mondou?
I was thinking the same thing. Why wasn't this caught at an end of season inspection? Rather than when we go to start it up? Now we're in a panic. And we do not have a yearly process today is what I'm understanding, so I think we should do stuff like that with critical equipment like this. My comments on it.
I have one question.
Yes, Councillor Burgess?
Should we budget for this over a 3-year period or a 4-year period? Is this something that's gonna be regular maintenance?
We can ask that question, I would say, for,
Just
I mean,
possibly,
it's not a huge,
Yeah.
15,000 isn't.
Okay.
You know, it's not a
Yeah.
huge amount of money. We have reserves for it exactly
Yeah.
for this type of thing. Perhaps the report should have been not seeking permission to do it, but just that we've done.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's what we should approach ones like this is. You and Derek have the wherewithal to do that and then.
So, yeah, I don't think. You know, I don't think there's a need to set up a specific reserve to do this work.
But the annual inspection or year-end inspection is a good idea,
Yeah,
as you close out your season,
We'll bring that forward, maybe put it on the agenda for committee.
Yeah.
We'll have a good discussion on it. there.
like the follow-up to this
Yeah.
work.
Yeah,
We have a motion to approve the work.
I think I moved it and Tim seconded it.
All right, all in favor? Okay. That's one. Is done. The next one,
And you-
anybody you have any new business before I move on?
I just was hoping I could get an update on a couple things under new business, if I could. The Point Edward signs, the CAO Burns to talk to Dave Beatty about. status
Yeah.
of those.
I haven't spoken to him for quite some time, so.
If we can get a follow-up on that. And then the status of the open burn bylaw, have we have an update on that at all?
We're just waiting for him to hear back from the ministry, so. Like, there's a lady that works in the office that I liaise with, and so she. You know, I sent her the document, she sent it back with a bunch of recommended changes, it's to the point, and it has been for, I would say, a couple of months. Where she gave her approval and forwarded on to the justice piece for our judge, I'm not sure exactly the title. For final approval, and we're just waiting for that now. So
Okay. And then my last question, maybe we could get something to the operations committee for October is. Some of our lines on some of our roads, as far as like the stop bars, have become very faded, and I know we've. Adopted the material that they torch right onto the road to make them last longer. And the areas I look at is Venetian, the section between Alexandra and Venetian. The stop bars are almost gone, and so whether before winter hits, whether we should look at, I know it's a county road, but. Do we do that for them or?
They have always done the line, I mean. For the most part, they do the lining. For our roads.
Yeah,
That rubberized surface, we do that.
Yeah.
So.
so
yeah,
I just
we
wonder
can
for the
fix them.
committee meeting, if Steve could just bring us a little. His thoughts on. Do we need to do anything before winter comes, or will we be fine through to, because some of them have gotten quite faded as far as. That, and I know there was a direction from our previous manager to let some of them fade away, and I
Mhm.
fully support those ones. But there are some in this community that I think have to be a proper stop bar for the code, so. Okay, I think that's all I have. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you. Anyone else with new business? Okay, the next one is community events and public announcements. And I'll just mention that October the 12th is the fire open house at 6 o'clock. So that is a Thursday night. And today's the 20, what's today?
26.
So ice started yesterday. Hockey started yesterday. So we're back into the season. Anybody else have?
I'm
Councilmember?
on the list here. This Friday is our last Friday garbage collection for the season. Saturday is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Busy week. Next Monday is the final property tax payment for 2023. And Tuesday, October 10th is Chipper Day. So. That's what I've got.
All right, now at this time, we're moving to an in-camera session. So, I'm just letting everyone know that we won't be back live
Let's go that fast, Cam.
Yeah.
See you next
to
time.
discuss a matter
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we're
thanks.
going to discuss in camera. So,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
We'll go in camera, yeah, be specific.